This is Python's Paradise. This is your host, Greg Gilbert, aka the Python Hyena, straight out of Fredericton, New Brunswick, Canada, here in Atlantic Canada. And folks, we are celebrating the 40th anniversary of Ms. 45, which I got here on Blu-ray. This has become a massive favorite film for me ever since I first saw the clips of it in Terror in the Isles, and I became instantly smitten with the young lady in it, Zoe Tamerlis Lund. And in celebration, I got a nice T-shirt, Miss 45. I love that poster of the legs, very James Bond like, and you get the gangster there. Of course, in the movie, there's four of them surrounding her, and well, they don't last. But folks, I have been very, very fortunate, been able to do, as of tonight, 5 tributes in honor of the late Zoe Tamerlis Lund, who played Thana, the mute anti-hero in the film. And she unfortunately left us at age 37. She was 10 years older than me. And I bet you if she were alive today, she'd still look better than I do. But folks, I've been very, very happy to have her widow, Mr. Robert Lund, join me for a 5th time on what has become very popular interviews in my roster. How do you do, Robert?
Hello. Good to be with you again here. Always more to talk about.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Can you believe it? 40 years since this movie came out. I would have been 9 years old the year this came out in 1981.
Yeah, she was just a child herself, 17 or 18 during the filming.
Yeah. Yeah, she was born in 1962. I was born in 1972. So she was up on me by 10 years, So so now if she were alive today, she'd be 59 because I'm 49. And I bet you she'd still look better than me.
Yeah.
Although,
I guess that would be her right. Her 60th birthday is coming up in February.
Oh, wow. That's right. Her 60th birthday. Wow.
Oh, God. Imagining her as a 60-year-old woman. Yeah, she'd be something to contend with.
Could you imagine
the Bella Abzug of the 21st century,
Could you imagine her as a 60-year-old Thana going around with her, maybe when she's 75, she'd go around with her walker with the little handgun.
Right.
I bet she'd probably still take those gangsters out. Although she wouldn't have to use a handgun today. In the modern times, she'd use Twitter.
Oh, I think not. I think in Central Park, the handgun would still come in handy.
You don't think tweets would hurt them?
I don't think they were they're probably banned,
How was your Christmas, Robert?
Oh, just fine. I got back from my road trip. I had taken a long leisurely road trip on the way back from Thanksgiving in Texas and through Florida. And I got back just in time for Christmas. Had dinner with some friends. But it was wonderful having a nice warm drive in the sunshine for a few weeks before Christmas.
Now you're in the snow like me.
Yeah, I'm in the house. I don't know. Maybe I don't think there's snow yet here, but hopefully I won't notice it.
Yeah. Tell me, in wintertime, was Zoe one of these people that would go out and make a snowman?
I don't recall making snowman. No, I don't recall her. I mean, she might have as a child. I don't know. No.
You didn't ever pick up a snowball and throw them at her, and then she pulls out the 45?
No, we didn't. we didn't play in the snow. It just it's not something. Junkies don't like the cold much. So
No?
snow is not a really. It's all about warm. So no, snow is bad.
Oh, I'm being light here, but I am fascinated with this woman, and I know you yourself are surprised that that her name is still out there, and her memory is still being upheld. It's probably surprising to you.
Well, not actually not that surprising because a lot of people get famous and get put on, well, not necessarily even put on a pedestal, but it's easier to idolize people once they leave the world. If she was still around, she'd be opening her mouth and affecting people's opinion of her. She might, as many Hollywood stars, their popularity comes and goes depending on who they offend this week. And she's spared that. She's just frozen in time, and people are remembering, what they want to remember and or what they know. And I'm here to provide a well-rounded picture of her.
Tell me, if she were alive today, do you think she would be on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and stuff like that?
I think, yeah, she probably would have gotten into using it. She would have a page. She wouldn't be having just a personal profile, although a profile naturally would be like Samantha Lancaster or some. I'm sure she'd probably have a few alias pages, but her main page for business, for publicity. I mean, she was right on it. We were using there wasn't really an internet, but I remember when she tried to email a script to somebody in Hollywood, and I was the programmer, so I could encode it in such a way that it could be attached to an email and then give instructions at the other end how to de-encode this thing. So and it was like the mid 90s we were doing stuff. So she would have been up on the latest technology, probably, it's just speculation, but yeah.
I could see her in Twitter wars.
Oh,
I love that reaction.
She'd be out there. Get somebody offended her on Twitter, she'd be at their door, Yeah, she was not one to tweet back. She was not one for proportional responses.
No. I'm gonna tell you, like I said, and I mentioned this in the other interviews, but I'll say it again. Like I said, what I caught wind of this film on Terror in the Isles, and I got Terror in the Isles on Blu-ray too, and I discovered a lot of movies through that compilation. But Miss 45 was one that caught my attention, and it was in the horror films that were based around sex and seduction, and they had clips from, in that section, Miss 45, Dress to Kill, The Seduction, and Clute, and movies like that, and a lot of those films I was familiar with, but Miss 45, I didn't know what it was at the time, but it kind of caught my attention. I needed to find out what that was, and I tracked it down. So, but I remember I was autograph hunting at the time, and when I was looking for her, I think I was like a month too late when I found out about her passing. So,
I see.
Yeah. So, but I'm really happy I'm able to do this. A lot of people, I get a lot of compliments on these tributes, and I appreciate it. I saw that email you sent me where somebody asked if we were going to do another one. I don't know how many of these we could possibly do. I'm surprised we're doing a fifth.
Right. I never did find out who was that. Somebody left that comment, and it was from a fictional account name. I didn't recognize the name, and I'm not sure if it was someone I knew or if it was some stranger. But yeah, they asked for a fifth. So sure, there's always more. I mean, there must be something we haven't covered. I haven't recently watched all four again, but you know best. If you want to hear it again, Anyone else can hear it.
You didn't go through those while you were coming back from your trip.
I haven't done my homework. I haven't gone and listened to the first 4 interviews. So if we do repeat something, perhaps more repeating.
If we repeat something, it's Robert's fault.
Yeah, right. Well, just think of how many times I've repeated it in my mind since it happened,
Yeah. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to see if I can find it here where you sent me that, because I'm just kind of going down my I didn't delete it, I know that, but who knows? Probably not. But it was interesting when I read that, because it was like, yeah, no, I'm not seeing it.
It's all right. We
Well,
believe you.
yeah. Okay.
Well,
Well,
that whole
yeah.
thing, the irony of Miss 45, that she wasn't really into film. Somebody sent her, she had actually gone to audition for a film called Times Square. And there was a film came out around that same time called Times Square. It had a whole bunch of chicks in it. And I guess she didn't get that part. But somebody on the set there told her, hey, my friend Abel's looking for some, you could go. And so he took her right away. And so it was just by chance that she happened to go and audition for this. And of course, Abel laid eyes on her. The minute he laid eyes on her, he goes, oh my God, that's her, Miss 45. And so something about her. Just the right degree of beauty and fragility, perhaps. Or I mean, she looked still kind of vulnerable at that age, I just keep picturing her, with her shocked face laying over that trash can with Abel behind her in that first scene, and the minute he laid eyes on her, I'm sure he was picturing that scene. Anyway, but that she should wind up doing that just a year after she had been raped at school. I was looking at, I told you the story about how I've just recently found the diary that she had written on that account of the rape up at Mount Holyoke College. And so I was just looking through it here, and let me just read you. I mean, she's writing, this is like 2 days afterwards.
Sure.
And she's got it all together, she's not telling anybody. Quote, she says, I am really quite proud of myself. This could destroy some people. I am proud of myself for facing it out. It took a lot of strength, thought, and psyching. Also, I did not fall prey to melodrama. I could have played Ms. Wronged by the World, told my parents, gone around weeping and making scenes. I felt this temptation numerous times, but I conquered it. I feel much better now and have no temptation. I am in control. Even if I get pregnant, I will still be in control. She got, she didn't want to get the guy in trouble.
Why?
She writes earlier, I cannot hurt him. He, I truly believe, thought I wanted him because I didn't protest. Didn't really know how barfed I was. I cannot get police or, God forbid, tell anyone. My mother is in the school too. Her mother was teaching at the same school. So her mother knew this Russian professor. And so she decided, really, the guy was probably around 60. She called him an old man. And a 16-year-old or 16, how was the 78? She's 16 here. A 16-year-old gets drunk in your house, so you put her to bed and you fuck her, and you think maybe it's okay because she didn't say no. I mean, she's obviously making excuses for the guy so she doesn't have to go after him and disrupt everybody's life. But it was amazing. And to read this, now, I mean, it's just, I wish I had read this when I first met her, but all this stuff was buried away, somewhere.
Well, I know I mentioned this before too. Wouldn't it have been cool had that teacher, that professor, seen Miss 45?
I don't know. I've tried to find him, Igor Mikhalchenko, and I was just looking him up online. I can't find him except he wrote a book. in 85, he published a book, a Russian reading book, to help people learn Russian. So it's probably the same guy. And how many Igor Migalchenkos are there? So that's him, but he was old then, so he's probably gone,
You'd think he'd be writing a book about something else that nobody wants to hear about.
Well, I mean, he's a Russian teacher, so what else is he going to write a book about? I mean,
what's he going to write a book about? Taking advantage of girls.
How many other were there? I don't know. He said he was recently divorced. She felt for him, whatever. But she wouldn't see him again. He wanted to see her again. No, she wouldn't see him again. She triumphed. She went to class, stared him down, acted like everything was totally normal, except she wouldn't go see him again. Oh yeah, right.
Yeah, I don't get that. If I were her, I would have went after him.
It's all about you. I mean, yeah, and she basically, I mean, not that it should happen, but she basically thinks it was a good thing. I mean, it improved her life. She got, in terms of, putting her through it, she thought it was good for her development, not being a virgin anymore.
Again,
yeah, really.
Your virginity is something only you can give away,
Well, I don't think so. Apparently not.
I'm not in agreement with her reasonings there.
And then she's saying now, her friend Mike, she had a boyfriend in the city, but now, she writes, now, if I were to make love to Mike, for example, I would not be a virgin. I would not worry about his knowing. Alas, on the left, it's embarrassing to be a virgin, stupid and reactionary, but true. Now I'll feel more comfortable in certain sexual situations. Okay. This is my girl. I don't know, man. I tell you.
After seeing some stuff in Bad Lieutenant that you say that she was on set for, I'm talking about the two lesbian girls that were into the whole bondage thing. I gotta wonder how freaky Zoe was.
Well, I think she was freakier than I'm not that freaky a guy. I think she took a break from her freaky life when she was with me. I was more of a straight guy, she's settled down. I mean, I had a job sort of, and although she undid whatever stability I could have offered her, were undone by getting addicted. But
you weren't freaky, but she had other ways to she freaked you out.
I was probably malleable. She thought she could mold me into something, or create a new revolutionary. I was not yet awakened, to the revolutionary zeal. And she gave me books to read. Wie alles anfing, How It All Began. It's a book written by Bummy Bowman. Bummy Bowman was one of the German revolutionaries back in the Baader Meinhof days, early 70s. And so I read this book. He was a son. His dad was some rich industrialist or something. And, he had it made, lived in the suburbs. A typical, the 60s, 70s revolutionary. This is all bullshit and meaningless. And so he was escaping the upbringing of his youth. So yeah, I'm reading this. I had a pretty repressed youth myself. I don't know. I didn't really buy it, but she was trying to get me to understand the whole revolutionary worldview. It's I don't know.
I think she was trying to get you to understand a lot of stuff.
I mean, look, I'm just. It's embarrassing to look back and think of how easily I not exactly manipulated, but I was not that grounded in my politics. I had some leftover, basically anti-American sentiments because I was, I went to Vietnam protests and stuff like that, and I was reading underground papers and news things about the CIA, and there's a lot of dirty work that the U.S. has done, and so I was focused on that in that period. So I was ripe for this kind of propaganda. I mean, one time it was before the heroin entered our lives. In the first month or two, I had some good acid, so we tripped together. And to her, when she was tripping, I became Andreas Baader. The Baader Meinhof, he was one of the leaders of the revolutionary there, died in prison mysteriously, just like Epstein, he died in prison. And she said, I became him. It's like my body, I became him, during that period she was tripping. So yeah, she was basically, I was, I played a role. Yeah, what a girl.
I gotta wonder, just one of the funniest stories you told was you guys saw the Terry Gilliam film Brazil on acid. I mean, that film's strange when you're not on anything.
I had a good connection. My little sister went out west and she married an acid dealer who had this incredible connection of window pane from the 60s. He would get it from Monterey, California. And, people were doing blotter paper, you soak the liquid on a piece of paper, you chew up the paper. But this stuff was like little squares, a few inches across, 10 by 10, a little waffle of see-through, like plastic, but like plastic waffles. And each little square was a hit. It was amazing stuff. So yeah, we went to see Brazil. And of course she was not the most well-behaved tripper. And she got for her, it became more of an interactive experience, So, I mean, no, this is not Rocky Horror Show. Shut up. I was trying to, this was like our first date. It was pretty early. And I had this wild girlfriend who was on the magazine covers. That magazine was on the magazine covers. I'm walking around with this little starlet, and there she is. Oh, I know him. He's about that. She recognized some actor and starts telling stories. I'm like, yeah, that was fun. That was not the same time as the other time she was at my house and I became Andreas Baader. And the last time we tripped was, I think we had already started. It was a couple of months after heroin had entered our lives. It was in May of '86. And it was that Sunday near May 17th. 17 May. May 17th is when the Norwegians have their Norwegian Independence Day parade out in Bay Ridge, Brooklyn, where I grew up. And, and a lot of people from the church where I grew up in were in this parade. So I decided, let's go see the Norwegian Day Parade, me and my new girlfriend. I'm going to take her and show her a piece of my past, my history. Okay, we'll go to Bay Ridge. So, I was out of touch with these people for years, but, having moved to Manhattan and all, but for old time's sake, I thought we'll go see the 17th of May parade, see all the Norskis all dressed up. Well, it was 45-minute subway ride out to Bay Ridge. And by the time we got out there, I had imagined my meetings with all these people from my past life. And I decided I can't face this. This is too much, the stuff is coming on. And it's like, no way I can go up and see these people. So we just crossed the platform and I thought taking the train back, Now this, to her, the effect was, oh my God, we're never getting out of the subway. So we had a kind of a tense ride back to Manhattan after I chickened out. And we got up into Washington Square and we hung out there. And I don't know if I told you this, but this was the trip where she explained later, she lost her mind. She had a void. She couldn't think of the word for the first person pronoun. The word I had vanished from her vocabulary. So everything she wanted to say started with the word I, and she didn't have the word for it. So she spent hours with this gaping mouth trying to speak. I didn't know what's the matter with her. I mean, I'm trippy too, but I'm holding it together. And I'm like, come on, in Washington Square on a Sunday afternoon, I tried to get her to I didn't know what the problem was. I mean, later she told me. And then it was like late, it was 5 or 6. And she finally said, I need some heroin. And it was like, whoa, you spoke, oh, So we walked. I live a couple of blocks from there. We went home to 10th Street and then later, of course, the significance of this whole event to her was that she lost the word I, and it was her beloved heroin that brought her back and able to form a sentence, including herself as the subject, that I need heroin, and she's one. It was the whole, she made like a religious significance out of the experience and that mental connection, and that went by. And then we never did that acid again. By that time it was heroin and all. But I thought of it later on, once I'm back to life and looking back at that, and when someone loses the first person pronoun, it's serious. I guess you call identity crisis. Like, I lost the word I. This is what she explained later on, that she couldn't remember the word to refer to herself. She was like pointing like an animal. It was like, oh, it was harrowing. So yeah, no more acid for her. Heroin, that's good, solid self. Oh my. I mean, this was the 80s. It was, I had just stopped doing coke for years, and going around singing, I want a new drug. This was the state I was in. Can you imagine what better person for Zoe to trip? She breaks up with the old guy, and here's a guy who has some income and he wants a new drug. What more could she ask for? I was perfect.
Let me guess, she was a big Huey Lewis fan, right?
No, wait, no, not him. No, yeah, I kind of just melded into her taste. A lot of songs, music I used to like that she didn't like. Well, we just didn't play that in the house if she didn't like it. So, I mean,
what did she like?
She didn't like Oingo Boingo.
Oh, gee, I've had the drummer from Oingo Boingo on here.
Oh, really? Really? What's his name? Yeah,
Johnny Hernandez.
Hernandez. Yeah. He's great. I know. I saw them live a number of times. I love those guys, and of all things, their one song that when I hear it now, it's like, oh my God, they're singing to Zoe. I can't believe I didn't like. There's a song called Capitalism. There's nothing wrong with capitalism. There's nothing wrong with, and it's totally anti-com. And then the chorus comes in. Here's the chorus that I can't believe I didn't play this, sit her down and make her listen to it. But, you're just a middle-class socialist brat from a suburban family, and you never really had to work. It's just, oh my God, I know her. Yeah, so I listen to Oingo Boingo again these days, but yeah, that one, and there was other things that she liked some. Yeah, she was into Nina Hagen, and I had this one record called, was it Lost in the Stars? It was a compilation of different modern groups doing cover versions of Kurt Weill and Bertolt Brecht songs. Now she was very much into Bertolt Brecht, her, communist playwright and from Germany in the 30s. And so he was a hero of hers. So yeah, it was like the first time I took her home and I played this record, and she, oh my God, she loved it all. Yeah, she was really blown away that I had that album. So there was some, but mainly what we listened to were more, shall we say, heroin friendly music, Jim Carroll, Lou Reed, and even though Nina Hagen was anti, it was still good enough music. I mean, it was wonderful music, but I mean, shoot it up, smack jack, shoot it up, smack jack. It's a drag with the monkey on your back, smack jack. She's like anti-drugs, but we did have that. But yeah, not all the music survived into Zoe's time. Yeah, Huey Lewis was not one of them.
Oh man, yeah, Oingo Boingo. I discovered them when they were in that movie Back to School, singing that song "Dead Man's Party."
Oh, I didn't see that movie. That's recent. Dead Man's Party. That's kind of late. That's 90s, wasn't it? Late 80s, early 90s.
No, it was in the 80s. Back to School is that movie with Rodney Dangerfield.
Oh,
Yeah.
Didn't see that. I saw
Yeah.
the first in Forbidden Zone. Did you see the movie called Forbidden Zone?
No, but I'm familiar with it.
Oh, you are. Yeah, that's. I guess that was their first appearance. That was directed by Danny Elfman's brother, Larry Elfman. He directed this movie around 1980, and in it they appeared their first appearance as the Royal Knights of the Oingo Boingo, and they're playing down in hell. But it's basically the same band. It's a strange black and white film with a lot of 1930s genre humor in it. It's like a little mix of vaudeville and weirdness. You really want to see this movie. You can't miss this. This is seriously strange. They got Hervé Valleshez is the king of the underworld, and he's got this immense wife that he lays on her bosom. It's just, yeah. So.
And Zoe didn't like them.
Oingo Boingo. It was all up in bouncy up kind of music. Didn't she? It was beneath her. She was more, subtle, beautiful, the dreamy. That wasn't dreamy stuff, Yeah, it was a sleepy mood in the house, Yeah.
Well, we just got done Christmas. What was Zoe like on Christmas?
Oh, let me see now. I don't think, no, we did not do a tree. I had a wreath. Yes, she liked it just fine because I saw it in the moving pictures. I had a Christmas wreath I think I got in the mid 70s sometime. And I just kept this wreath. So it was brown after a few years. And so I had the same brown wreath for Christmas right through when we lived on 10th Street in the 80s. But we didn't, we went to my parents on Christmas Eve. My parents were alive and the family always celebrated Christmas Eve in the Scandinavian tradition. So we'd make the trip out to Brooklyn and see the family. And yeah.
So did she have like a little stocking with her name on it?
No.
Oh, frig, I'm just getting amused with her right now, just talking about this stuff. Oh, man. So, well, she's, I suppose, people have no control over what other people do, but what was like, I know that her mom had passed away not too long ago, and how was Zoe's interaction around her? Like, obviously, she didn't go visit her while she was high, or was her mom familiar with this lifestyle that she had?
Oh,
Or
God.
yeah,
Well, I guess particularly after the husband Victor died, Zoe began taking advantage of her mother more. But it's painful to remember because although, I think it was early, I found a letter I recently came across in my massive archives of files here. I found a letter my father had written me after the last time I went to borrow $100 from him. And he reluctantly gave it to me. And then he wrote me this letter saying, don't ever ask me for money again. You made your choice, but leave me out of it. Don't ever come to me for money again. And I felt terrible and I respected that. And, in the worst of times, when we're sick for 2 days, and there's no money coming from anywhere for a while, and she's, come on, you got to borrow for your phone. I refused to. It was, that, I generally remember us as not having fights, but there was a lot of animosity towards me because I wouldn't go and try to squeeze my parents for money. As I'm leaving, they're not part of this problem. I'm not, So of course she made up for it by getting money from her mother. And of course, I tried, when you're sick, there's just so much you'll do to try to convince her not to take money from her mother. And she eventually she calls her mother, and she had this ongoing deception of, I had pains in my stomach and I had to go to the emergency room and I need $100 to pay them or they won't give me medication, whatever. So it got so that her mother appeared to be actually worried about her health. I think that was, her mother was in a real difficult position. Of course, she knew what we were doing.
Okay.
And it just suited her to go along and not insist on the truth, So, you know what I mean? She kind of went along with the official story, but I don't know.
That can be hard.
Yeah, yeah. And well, have you seen that video that Barbara made, the interview talking about how difficult it was and what a special child she was? There's a video online.
Yes, I think
Zoe
wasn't it on
Rising.
this?
Zoe Rising went into there. I don't know about that. No, I think that might have been the one with me. The one with Barbara, the Leckberg, the old woman, talking. It was 2009. That I don't think it made it. I'm not sure if it made it onto there.
I don't know.
Yeah, there's some extras in that. Right.
Yep.
So yeah, she had a rough time, and of course, it got to once I was gone. When we lived with her, the last year we were together, we lived in Barbara's little apartment.
Mm-hmm.
In what would be well, I guess Barbara slept up front in what would be the living room, but she slept on a cot bed in there, and we were back in this room that it had a couch, and so we were living with her, and I would hear Zoe up front. Just how she would scream at her mother. Her mother would try not to give her money, and she'd just yell at her and terrorize her. And she finally, and after I left, it probably got worse. So her mother, I'm not sure how the mechanics of this work, but the city declared that she was a victim of elder abuse. She got social services involved, and she was a victim of elder abuse. And that's how they hooked Barbara up with this charitable organization called Jarvie, that supports choice people of value, or somehow, I don't know how they decide who they're going to help, but apparently they considered Barbara, they accepted her application. So they were supporting her, paying her rent and her storage locations, starting in around 99 or 2000, after Zoe was gone. But I never really dealt with her on business matters like that. When I'd see her in those years after Zoe's death, it was, I helped her with lesson plans. She was teaching down at the Philadelphia School of Art. And so, she'd give me handwritten stuff, and I would make her documents and print out copies for her class and things. And we talked about Zoe. I guess she didn't talk to anybody else about Zoe.
Her mom was a strong person. That's what I gathered, because I know she was an artist as well,
Yeah, and she created quite a wonderful little child. I mean, she was very inspiring to Zoe. You see old pictures of her playing on the floor with Zoe, and she prompted a lot of creativity in Zoe. Yeah, this was Zoe was a product of Barbara's upbringing.
So with Zoe, it was just a matter of getting in with the wrong crowd.
Crowd. I mean, she stuck out. I don't know, like it started in high school. She really got into Emma Goldman, was one of her heroes. And so I don't know. I mean, you see pictures of her at Blackboard in class, talking revolutionary jargon. So I guess that appealed to her back then when she was just a teenager. I don't know if there was a crowd involved. Where she was going to school, I don't think there was. She kind of stood away from the crowd, formed her own crowd. And then with the heroin, she had always told me, and it probably wasn't true. She said she had been addicted since she was 14. Now, the boyfriends from the 70s tell me, no way. She probably started it on the set of Miss 45. Somebody hooked her up there. But she did tell the story. When she was 14, she'd go to the city. Well, she was still living in the city, I think. I don't know how old when they moved to Westchester, but she'd be in the city and she was delivering weed for some guys, you know. They get this 14-year-old girl to deliver their weed. And when she came back to the place and she saw some guy curled up on the floor, sweating, shaking, blah, 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 she goes, oh my God, what's the matter with him? And somebody told her, well, he's addicted to heroin and he doesn't have any. And she said, I knew right then, anything that made you suffer that bad when you didn't have it must be pretty wonderful. So that was her epiphany. That was where she says that she, I guess, got to appreciate it. But I don't think she started doing it when she was that young. But apparently, you know, she sought it out. She had already made up her mind, at least, you know, from what she told me, that she had heroin. She held it in awe from an early date. And yeah.
Wow.
And then I guess she liked what it did. So
I find her response to that just jarring, because you'd think that
I know,
I'd be like, yeah, well, if it makes you feel like that, you don't want on it.
it was just,
Papers.
you know, she was more of a, it's like with the revolution stuff, you know, the way I see it all now, they don't have a good idea of how to run a country.
No.
But they're in love with the romance of going out there and the revolution and crush the Bastille. And it's the process that they're in love with. And the reason they fail all over is because they don't really think about what they're going to do when they get in the position of responsibility. I mean, like the Taliban, look at them. You know, they're all gung-ho when they're out there in the desert shooting people. And now they got a country and there's no work, there's no industry, there's no banks, there's no nothing. They can't, you know, ideology will take you just so far, but you can't feed your people, you know? So it was the same with her and the revolutionary stuff, you know? She never really thought it through, but it was all so wonderful, you know? And of course, the European revolutionaries, they were cool because they could do, you know, American junkies, they tend to be, you picture them in the gutter, they fuck up their lives. But the European revolutionaries, they all did just a moderate number of heroin. So they were just like intense with the pinned, you know, when you have pinned eyes, that gives you depth of field, right? Small aperture, big depth of field. You see far, you see close. You open the eyes wide, you only see what's in focus, but everything else is blurry. So she had all this thing about Johnny, Edward. They went to Italy and they hooked up with Johnny. And Johnny, he opened his jacket to show Io Armata, meaning I am armed. And he had a couple of hypodermic needles in his inside pocket, you know. This is like her heroes of the revolutionary world over there, you know. I don't know where I was going with that, but yeah, always the revolutionary, no, that just so yeah, so I mean, the thinking that the same thing, not thinking practically, how would I live if when I didn't have what I loved, if that's what happened to me? Do I want to live in a life where that's what happens to me when I don't have what I want? That's too practical, you know. Maybe people like you and me would say such a thing. Yeah, if I saw that, oh, that's what happens when you don't have your dope, that would give me another reason to stay away from it. So no, it had the opposite effect on her. So, you know, romantic, whatever. This is the kind of people, this is the kind of person that people adore and idolize. So she's out there taking the risks for them, you know. You do the heroin, so we don't have to. Just write about it for us, you know.
Well, how many? You probably don't know this answer, but how many times was she arrested?
Let's see. Let's see. That was the one time before she lived with me, and she got arrested once when she'd gone out. So there was once, and then I think we were in jail at the same time on two separate occasions in New York, and then of course there was the time down in Maryland where we went into the slammer together. So for her, I think it was 4 times. I mean, they got me 7 times plus the time in Maryland, and then twice more afterwards.
And you're the one that cleaned up.
Yeah, well, I'm just, arrest. I was never good, and now I can't go to Canada. You know, I mean, I got this form in here. I got a form application for an application for a certification of rehabilitation. And I got to have references from, I got this form that if I ever want to get into Canada, I have to get this form to show that I'm rehabilitated. Well, the hell with just, I'll just stay here. If you, I mean, look at me, 25 years later, I'm fine. But they want their form. I mean, I told you about that. I tried to go to Montreal for lunch with my son, and I got turned away at the border. Hey,
Did
Okay.
did Zoe have that problem too?
Yeah, I don't think that's recent. I don't think that's been.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I never had any trouble going anywhere else. I've been around. I've been going to Europe and stuff. But Canada wants to look at my arrest record. Get out of here.
Wow.
Uh, borders, right? It's racist. What? I'm an American.
Well, I know one thing that we had talked about, and I know I had known about this for a while, and when we recently talked, you said that you wanted to voice about it, and I think it was since the third interview that I knew about this, and I never ever pushed you to talk about it, but you decided that you wanted to bring it up in this interview, and
uh, I'm
so
willing to. Yeah, sure. It's not like I need to talk about it, but
yeah,
sure.
yeah, you know
Yeah,
what, yeah, it's not that you need to talk about it, but um,
yeah. It's part of the story. It's part of the whole thing. And related to that, it's funny. And yeah, the 2 days after the rape, I'm still looking. I got this old diary open here. And
uh-huh.
so naturally, when Zoe got raped, the question of pregnancy arose.
Mm-hmm.
So here's a couple of days afterwards, she's writing about her period. Oh, if I don't get it today or tomorrow morning, I'll go on Saturday to investigate at least a pregnancy test and probably an abortion. I've often wondered how I'd feel personally with abortion, always having treated it in the abstract. But I truly do not fear it or feel revolted, etc., or like a murderer. It's self-preservation. All that bothers me is the logistics of it and the absolute secrecy. I think, however, I could do it in New York. I'll do it, however, that is crossing bridges, it would be extremely improbable that an old man on the 26th day would impregnate me. Well, we shall see. Well, so of course it turned out she wasn't pregnant back then, but that's how she had thought about it. And I guess, yeah, in a case like that, I don't know. Yeah, when you get raped and you're out of your senses and you catch it early enough, this is what they're talking about, that this girl shouldn't have been forced to have her baby.
Mm-hmm.
But then, of course, we fast forward to 1986 when she's just turned 24. And well, there we were. Now, I wasn't an old man. I was 39, 40. But yeah, the first time we were in bed about to do the deed, and I was a little concerned being a responsible adult. And she told me the first of many lies to come. Oh, don't worry, I don't get pregnant. I hear that line now, and it's
Yeah.
just what every young dude wants to hear. And with all the skepticism we might hold in other areas of life, when you hear that and you're pending action and you hear that line, oh yeah, I believe you. Of course I believed it because I wanted to believe it. And sure enough, it was not to be believed because I was not such an old man. And she did get pregnant. And so I guess I would have put it somewhere. And see, we were living together. It was probably April. So she was probably in her 2.5 months or something like that. I think I can't really place the date. But I know we were living together already, which was the end of March. So it was a couple of months in. And so, yeah, I said, sure, I guess, you know. And I remember the big thing was it was after she was living, because the big fact was I can't be pregnant. I'd have to stop doing dope. At least even Zoe, even Zoe, who thinks it's the best thing for everyone, knew that if you're going to be pregnant, you don't keep doing dope because you don't want to give birth to a junkie baby who has to kick the first thing in life. And so for her, the deal killer was that, I mean, not only, oh, what about our careers, but it had to do with, like, she wasn't willing to stop doing dope for 8 months or so. So yeah, I guess we do what we got to do, you know. And I look back now, and I like I say, I wasn't that grounded. It didn't really occur to me to even suggest, well, maybe you could carry it. I mean, you see, the idea, maybe you could carry it and give it away. That would have worked if it was just that we can't raise a child together. But, you know, so we raised rats instead. I mean, she had maternal instinct. She just used them on small furry animals instead. An actual human being in our life might have altered things unpredictably. It certainly would have been extremely different. But it was basically, I distinctly recall her saying it was unthinkable that she could stop doing dope. I mean, it really, you know, yeah. And yeah, I guess it was a horror show for her. I mean, I remember driving her to the clinic. There was a New York City clinic on, like over there on 2nd Avenue and 22nd Street. And I borrowed the mother's car, a little old Volvo station wagon. And I remember I was sitting out in the car and she went into the clinic. Mm-hmm. And yeah, she came out all totally breaking down in tears and shaking. Apparently, when they got it out, one of these assistants had just held up a plastic bag right in Zoe's face, saying, "Here we go, we got it, honey." You know, and it freaked her out to see this plastic bag right in front of her face with the little whatever it was that was taken out of her. I can't imagine what they looked like at that certain time, but you know, it was a piece of flesh. She probably didn't have arms and legs yet, but anyway, she was pretty freaked out. Somebody basically taunted her with it, but that didn't. It's not like you could undo it. So yeah, so that happens, and I've always imagined, you know, what if we hadn't? What if she had let it be born and we gave it away? You know, and I go off in my internal screenplay of track her down, find the real parents, find the girl, tell her who her mother is, blah, blah, blah. But it wasn't to be. So there you go.
Wow. Did her mom know about this?
No, of course. And Zoe told me about it. And you know, she told me many things about her past that once she died and I asked people, I'd find out the truth.
Oh, so Zoe didn't tell you the truth and other people told you.
Oh, I mean, yeah, no, I mean, she told me, look, the first night we were coming home from the club. Now, we had not really, you know, connected physically, but we're out in the club. And in those days, you're out in the club and the club time is over. It's 4 a.m. Either you go to an after hours or somebody has some drug party. So there was this guy we're hanging with. He was an Irish mulatto from Boston, as I recall. And let's go to my hotel. I got some cocaine. Okay. So 3 of us get in a cab, go uptown, Midtown hotel room. I don't know. So we do a coke in his room. And then he expects us to get on the bed and he can watch us performing for it. It's like, wait, whoa, what do you do? You got the wrong idea, buddy. We're not even like a couple, you know, we're just, you know, we were just, so we got out of there. We said, fuck you, you know, we leave his room. And that happened to be that, yeah, I know it was our first date because that was like, while we're waiting for the elevator outside his room. I don't know, it was weird. It put us on the spot because he was expecting us to have sex in front of him. It's like, no, we haven't done, we're not there yet. And so then we kissed waiting for the elevator, and that kind of blew us both away. I think that like set us down that track. But then she tells me this whole story. Oh, it's so, this guy reminds me, you know, my Victor, Barbara's husband, Victor's not my real father. You know, my mother had an affair with with a mulatto in early 60s, so my father is black, my actual, but I don't know who he is, and blah, blah, blah. So she telling me, and she told me this for years. She referred to this father. And of course, it's not the kind of thing you spoke about at home with the family. And she would tell the girls in jail. I remember a couple of times she was in jail. She's in the jail with a whole bunch of black hoes, they're all in there. And they're all, yeah, oh, yeah, honey, yeah. No, she's telling me how the hoes love to hear her story of being half black, etc. So once she's dead, I asked Barbara about this. Barbara, please understand, but I gotta know. I mean, Zoe, did you, is this, did you have an affair with a black man and have Zoe? And I mean, I could tell. I know this woman. I mean, if she had, she would have told me, or she would have, but she was so shocked. What? She was Robert. I wish I had an affair with a black man in the 60s. No, my God. No, she was just totally blown away that Zoe would go spreading this story. So similarly, all right. So I mean, that's just, for instance, I went around, finding out stories. I had never seen a childhood picture of Zoe. The whole time I was married to her, I never saw a picture of her from before I met her. All the photos, it was all hidden away. So I asked the mother, listen, Zoe told me this thing now. I don't know, but did you know she got raped? And she's, oh my God, yeah. But so the rape was in 1978. Mm-hmm. And like 81, so he met up with Edouard Yves de Leroux, and went off to Paris with him. So, mother's kind of, what is her daughter, like 19, 18, 19, something like that, and she leaves the country with this old guy. So mother naturally was, I gotta know what's up. So she went through her room and found this notebook from 1978. And it was then in 81 that she read this diary that I'm reading from here. She read the diary of what happened back at the school where she was working. She knew this guy. What's his name? Igor Migalchenko. If you're out there, congratulations, you got away with it. Yeah, so I mean, so she told me, yes, she did find out about it, but Zoe was off in Paris when she learned of this years later, 4 or 5 years later.
Wow. The
Yeah.
despicable nature of some of these people, Yeah.
I mean, if you got a student in your house and she's 16 and she's unconscious, drunk, you don't do that, I mean, I just, really, I mean, I've been in situations where the woman falls out drunk, and I'm sure some guys would make fun of me because I didn't touch her, but like, no, you don't take advantage of somebody who's drunk, especially if they're 16. Jesus. So I'm sorry I didn't know about this long ago. Because I'd have a few words for the guy.
I gotta ask, what was Zoe like when she was drunk?
No, really.
Was she like Bad Santa and have to stop in the alleyway and throw up?
We didn't really drink much. Alcohol was not a big thing. I mean, she did amazing amounts of coke. I mean, one time in those early days after the clubs, 4 a.m., you'd find the after hours club. It was in some old garage, like under the elevated over on the west side. And somebody laid out, I mean, it had to be 18 inches or more, a line of coke on the grand piano. And Zoe would all, did the whole thing. Oh my God. Those were the times. That's what it was like. That's what your recreation was, drugs in the 80s. Jesus. Oh, yeah, not anymore, boy.
Wow. So, other than myself, like on a daily basis, or maybe not even a daily basis, out of a month, how often does Zoe's name come up for you?
Well, if I'm home alone, of course, I say it all day, like my rosaries. I write your name. I write your name in vain. Do you know that Jim Carroll song? I write your name.
Yep.
In San Francisco on New Wave Discos, I write your name. Yeah. So no, her name doesn't come up sometimes. And especially these days, like, you know, I've got a lot of her stuff around here, you know, piled up here and there. But now, you know, as you know, just this year, I got another layer of another deceased loved one's possessions here covering up. So there's a layer of my son's possession, kind of like
I'm so
over.
sorry to hear that, Robert,
Yeah.
about your son. I know we were talking, and you were visiting family, and you're a lot stronger a person than Zoe, because you beat the drugs, you know, and you went on to get involved with computers, and you became something, you know. I'm not trying to downplay her, you know, but the same token, she made her bed, she had to sleep in it, you know. But you got a lot that you can be proud of, you know. And I'm sorry to hear about your son, and I think it's probably very hard to do, but you did get to spend some time with him, and
oh yeah. No,
yep.
I mean, it's been more and more in the past 5 years. And last year I was in Texas practically, I mean, 10 months out of 12, because he was in a wheelchair because the proton radiation therapy had damaged his nerves. So he just lost the use of his leg. So I was, you know, last year it was down there. I'm just driving him to treatments and driving around, and yeah, we spent more time together last year than we had in years. You know, I was living with him, and basically, yeah, you know, you know, get him into the car, put the wheelchair in the trunk, and go someplace and do things. You know, and this was during the pandemic when, yeah, early last year, people were locked down, so I had the roads to myself. It was all essential travel. I was bringing him to the hyperbaric chamber where you go inside and you're under 2.5 times atmospheric pressure and you're breathing pure oxygen. That was supposed to heal it. Didn't do much, but anyway, so yeah, so then just in terms of course, it affects my whole mind and life view, but it's affect the house in that there's a layer of my son's stuff kind of covering up all the remnants of her belongings, you know, but yeah, they're around. And no, she doesn't come up that much, but yeah, from time to time, sure, I get emails, you know, comments on their videos and things like that.
I'm very happy the response these have gotten, you know. These tributes have done extremely well on my channel, you know, and it's just overwhelming to me that there's still a huge interest in her, you know. I'm surprised they haven't done a movie about her, because some of the stuff that you've described, you could almost, and I hate to say this, but I'm going to, you almost could make a comedy out of some of the stuff you've described.
I could. Some of it's kind of funny, sure, yeah.
You know,
if you have a dark sense of humor. I mean, oh, yeah.
did she ever have a situation like, I know there was a video out there, I think it was Lindsay Lohan, where she was high or something, and she, I don't know whether she was trying to snort Coke or something off a hamburger, and she was face deep down the hamburger. And I don't know if I saw the video. I think it was Lindsay Lohan, if my memory serves me. Did Zoe have situations like that?
Well, you know, this was before everybody had video cameras around. So, and I had no camera either. So I didn't take many pictures of her. Yeah, I had a camera, you know, a 35 millimeter SLR back there in the day. And I guess it was the mid 80s, just before she came along, mid 80s. I remember in the big apartment, I had it on a bookshelf in the hall. And during a scuffle with my teenage punk son, the camera got knocked to the floor and it never got fixed again. So I didn't have a camera the whole time with Zoe. So I didn't know, there weren't any, you know, there's just that. There's a video of her hanging out with Abel and some crew people at the Chateau Marmont Have you seen that video?
I think
That
so,
was,
yeah.
it's on the YouTube channel of mine. It's kind of, you get to see her there when she's hanging out, being charming, telling stories, putting on the accent, and yeah.
Yeah, Abel was is an interesting character as well. I had I've got Driller Killer here on
Oh,
Blu-ray, and
that's great. Blu-ray. Oh yes.
I gotta say, Driller Killer is one of those so bad it's good movies. Miss 45 is a much better movie,
Oh yeah.
but they're both very similar in their structures and
Yeah.
whatnot. In a way, they're almost the same movie, except that this is a better one. I watched Driller Killer, and I'm kind of like, Abel cannot act.
He could do one thing.
you know,
Um,
but the scene where he's like, the girl wants him to drill a hole in the door, and then she keeps changing her mind. I'm like, you want to talk about talking to the screen? I didn't have to be on anything to say, make up your damn mind, girl. This guy's on something. Don't piss him off.
oh, yeah.
But yeah. It's a movie fun to laugh at, but I think Miss 45 had a much better social commentary to it,
Oh yeah.
Plus Zoe's
Yeah, and he's got a good vision. He's got a good way of presenting action, and then the whole thing with the cut. Yeah, he builds up the action real.
yeah.
I mean, going through all of his later ones, The Funeral and The Addiction.
Uh-huh.
And he's got a recent film, I think, that's just come out. I don't know the name. I can't think of it. But I think another film by him is coming out pretty soon. He's been, I think, over in Italy.
Is that where he's from? I don't remember. Haven't read up
No,
much on
he's
him.
he's from the Bronx or somewhere up there.
Okay.
But he spent time over there. He spent time in Milan. He did a film in Milan. Was it Milan? Oh, not Milan. Milan's up north. The one down south. I forgot where.
Okay.
But anyway, he spent time over there and did a film about the town. So he must have family there or something. And he's got, for years he's been seen in interviews where he had his problems with the wonder drug as well, pretty much after she was gone. I mean, Zoe used to really be pissed off at him because he would take advantage of her addiction, and be teasing her with $100 bill, dangle $100 bill in front of her, he kind of liked, it gave him a certain kind of power over her that she was addicted and he was not. And she used to say, I just can't wait. One day he's going to be addicted. I want to see him suffer, yada, yada, Well, she didn't stick around because I think he was, in the early 2000s. There are a number of videos I've seen online where he's out of it. He's clearly high, And when I recently saw him, well, I guess it's a couple of years ago, I saw him at a screening of a couple of films over in Manhattan. I just made it on time. Yeah, he's, when someone's been on dope and they get off the dope, it's a wonderful sight to see because it's like Lazarus. It's like they're back from the dead, He was, animated and alive again, I could see he's cleaned up. So I was real happy for him because he seems to have conquered that,
Yeah, he did a film just this year called Zeros and Ones with Ethan Hawke. Yeah.
Zeros and Ones. Sounds like my kind of film. Jesus.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what he did that this year. Yeah, Ethan Hawke in it. So yeah, I've seen a few of his films, not a whole lot. Like I said, I've seen Driller Killer and I've seen Miss 45. I wouldn't mind seeing Fear City. I haven't seen that one yet, but
that too, yeah.
Yeah.
And there's the one with Madonna. What's the one with Madonna? Where Harvey Keitel plays the film director, and he's having an affair on his, and Harvey's wife is played by Abel's wife. This is at a time when Abel and his wife were having serious problems. And so she plays, in the film, she plays the wife of Harvey, the film director. Harvey's basically playing Abel, and he's getting involved with Madonna, is this spoiled brat actress who's acting in a TV series, and she's cast in the role of a lousy actress. And all she has to do is be herself. This is how Abel's regarding her. And they fought a lot because he had no respect for her. I mean, what's the name of that film? Jesus. That was a good one.
I'm trying to find it on here, see which one it is. And
of course, The Addiction is wonderful. The black and white film. It's all about vampires, but it's all a big heroin analogy, with Christopher Walken being the head blood addict.
Oh, Dangerous Game. That's the one with
Dangerous
Madonna.
Game. Yes. You really want to see that. That's Madonna. And I mean, she was put in a bad position because she's supposed to play a spoiled prima donna actress who can't act. And it's like, whoever cast her for this was cruel. Because it's totally, all she had to do was be herself. And he was, I guess she went after him because he was recording rehearsals when she didn't know he was filming. So they had some rehearsals, and they had some basically off script moments that he used in the film, which she didn't even know he was recording. So yeah, there was some strife between them.
Bad Lieutenant. I have seen that. I watched that because I wanted to see, I just wanted to hear Zoe speak, and yeah, I thought she was so stunning in that movie, but
well, did you watch The House Guest, the short 30-minute black and white film by Franz Harland? That was 86. I think she was pretty exquisite in that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
She was your house guest for a lot. Well.
Yeah, that was a house guest, all right. Yeah.
She was your house guest. I could just imagine being in a movie theater watching Brazil and having her talk to the screen. That must have been too bad we didn't have cell phones back then,
Oh, God. Oh boy, I'd have some footage.
That would have been something,
I'm still trying to find. There was a line director for Geraldo Rivera. We were on his show. They recruited Zoe. Geraldo wanted to do one of his, save a human being, send them off to rehab shows, Yeah. He did it with Mickey Rooney's son. He had sent Mickey Rooney's son off to rehab, and then you come back all better. So he wanted Zoe to find him someone. So she went out scouting. She went to Tompkins Square. She was asking various people if they want to do this. And our drug connection at the time, Frenchie, I met him in the street, and he was our connection. And he had a girlfriend, Stephanie, who was a real pain in the ass, a drug brat. She wasn't addicted, but she had a habit. And she got cranky and self-indulgent when she didn't have her drugs. So Zoe decides to bring her to get her rehabilitated. Where am I going with this? I started telling you this story for a reason. Geraldo Rivera. Yes. So in the preparation leading up to this, they had crew people came down to the apartment and to interview us to talk about. So Frenchie and his girlfriend are there, and Zoe's there. It's at Barbara's apartment in a little room. Mm-hmm. And of course, they had to wait for me because I came home with some money. I had to go out and cop. So I go out and cop. I come back. I got the dope. I give it up. First things first. No interview yet. I got to do my dope. So I mean, the whole routine. Open the bag, you cook, you do the boo, you put it in the arm, and then I look over, and this guy is sitting here from the station. He's sitting there. He's got a camera in his lap, and I see the red lights on. I go, whoa, wait a minute. What are you doing? You're taping me? Oh, don't worry. This is not for the show. This is just for my personal use. So, it was just my life at the time. It was just, I say, and that's it. Fine. I don't pursue the guy. I don't somehow demand I want a copy. I didn't have equipment. I didn't. It was 90. It was 96. So yeah, I didn't have. We didn't have QuickTime movies. There wasn't the digital exchange was not quite open yet. So I didn't. But somewhere, I mean, it's 25 years later. I don't know if this guy still has this little digital videotape or what he would have done with it. But I've tried to track him down. I kind of hit a dead end. But it'd be nice to get that videotape and see just I mean, there's a full scene of my whole process. I mean, it's, it'll be difficult to see, but it's like a record of my life is out there. Who knows who has seen it? And I haven't, So Geraldo Rivera, yes.
With everything going on today, again, you know Zoe probably better than anybody. How do you think she would have handled the pandemic?
Well,
you think she would have been a masked person?
No, I'm sure she would have refused that shit. I know her well enough to know that she does not take. If the government's telling you something, they're probably lying. And there's enough information around. I mean, I was very well aware. I mean, this is back when we were together. I had my news groups. I had multiple sources of information besides the mainstream media. This is 30 years ago. I would get these, it was like news groups. Your modem would dial a number and you could download all the latest articles to your computer and then you'd read them offline, But so we would have been aware of all of the suppressed information that's from all around the world. So I'm sure she would have been at the forefront of anti-everything, anti-compliance. Yeah. That much we would have seen eye to eye. Yeah, I can't imagine her believing in masks. Are you kidding?
You don't think she wouldn't get the vaccination? I mean,
I'm sure she would not. Nobody's putting that shit in me. No, of course not. No.
She's got other shit going into her. I mean,
yeah, but not when you know what this does to people. No, and the fact that the government's forcing it to, the fact that the fact that the government wants to give everybody the shot, whether they need it or not, whether they're children who don't even get COVID. There's so little risk, and there's people that are dropping dead all over with heart attacks. I mean, it's outrageous. So yeah, don't get me started. I can't imagine Zoe feeling any other way than this. I mean, with her distrust of government, of course, she would have been the wildest conspiracy theorist. She would have been certain of their motivations, that they want to wipe us out. She would have been on the fringes. Yeah, I mean, there are people on the fringes of every operation like this, but I mean, you don't have to be very far out to see what a sham it all is. It's just, I mean, mild symptoms. Oh, shut everything down. We might get a cold.
I'm just imagine for a second. Imagine a world where Zoe exists, and so does the current state, and we're in lockdown. And you're in lockdown. You're in lockdown with Zoe.
There's no lockdown. No, there's no lockdown. No, you got to go out and cop. First of all, lockdown would be the lockdown. Only essential travel is allowed. Now, if going out to cop your dope is not essential travel, what is? Come on. So no, there'd be no lockdown if this had happened 25 years ago. There'd be no lockdown for us. Oh my God. I mean, it must be hard for people these days. I mean, there must be still people addicted to heroin, although from what I hear, it's hard to get heroin because it all has fentanyl in it and you'll die because it's 10 times stronger. So I don't know what people do these days. There has to be junkies somewhere, but I guess I think they more switch to pills these days. They're all doing this oxy this, and I don't know, this. It's all, yeah, I don't know.
Oh, we got kids on the internet now doing Tide Pod challenges now, which is so friggin' stupid.
The challenges, yeah, the challenges are
that's so stupid. People eating friggin' Tide, like stuff you wash your laundry with, I mean, yeah, keep Zoe away from the Tide Pods.
Well, I read today, Amazon just apologized and recalled the product. Some little kid asked Alexa, please
Uh-huh.
give me a challenge. And Alexa instructed the child to take one of those phone chargers and put it like halfway into the socket and then put a coin across the two prongs. The machine told the child to do this. All right. So it got reported and Amazon apologized and I guess reprogrammed it. But this is what Alexa told the child to do. The child asked for a challenge. And I guess Alexa has seen all this shit going around TikTok. And she repeated what, if you can believe everything you read. I mean, it was on a news source. So it's totally believable. I mean, it's just, yeah.
And somebody out there dumb enough to do it.
Somebody reported it, but somebody was not smart enough to program Alexa not to tell kids to do dangerous things. I mean,
Lexus is the modern day Chucky doll.
Yeah, I don't go near. I can't stand machine talking to me. And
Yeah, but you know what? They could program your phone. Imagine if it sounded like Zoe.
oh God, yeah.
She'd probably tell you to do things.
Oh God.
That'd be a move.
See, they ought to have this, upload a bunch of samples to Google and we'll put your Google Maps directions in this voice. So if I could upload Zoe voice to Google and then I could program my Google map, turn left here, go, please. Do it.
Takes you to the place.
Google Maps, it just have one voice, but like in the old Garmin's, or they used to be these GPS devices that you buy for your car.
Mm-hmm.
And we had one, I was in Europe in 2009, I had a Garmin in the van,
Mm-hmm.
and you could download the instructions. You had all different stars, out of work movie stars would record these tracks. And they had various, I can't remember, but the various actors' names were there where they would read your direction. I wanted Joe Pesci. Come on, give me Joe Pesci. It's street directions. But no, they didn't have Christopher Walken. They didn't have my favorites, but they had a bunch of people.
Oh, I would have definitely wanted Zoe.
Well, we might be able to arrange that now after posthumously, yeah. And I've got the little box. I mean, I told you, I must have told you. I found a little box like a ring would come in, with the foam inside. And I open it up, and there's a lock of pubic hair. I do remember cutting this off and putting it in a little box somewhere way back in the day, 20, 30 years ago. What is it, 87 it would have been. So, I mean, we'll see about what we can do with the DNA labs. We can make a clone. I have the pubic hair, so that ought to be enough to.
You got Zoe pubic hair.
Yeah.
I don't recall hearing this before.
Oh, well, it just was there, I mean, I opened the box. Oh God, I remember this thing. I mean, yes, right. I remember taking the sample and putting it away in a drawer back on 10th Street. And then it surfaced all these years later.
Oh my goodness.
So there's got to be a better forum for that than, well, I could cut it up and sell it in pieces, but we're going to have little Zoes being cloned all over in a few years. eBay, what do you think it would get on eBay? I guess
you know what?
High prices with all of it.
Part of me is thinking, gee, part of me saying I want that, and then another part of me is, how in the fuck do I explain that to somebody?
You want this? I'll cut you a piece if you like. Sure, I mean, it's a good chunk.
I'm sitting there thinking, if I died tomorrow and I had Zoe pubic hair,
then you'd be complete. You don't want to die. Better than dying without it. Oh, that's your last thought. Oh, I should have said for that pubic hair. No, it's cubic hair, not pubic hair. You're right.
Hey, I'll take a piece of it, sure.
Well, you can tell your listeners, send a self-addressed envelope to Python Hyena for your piece of Zoe pubic hair. Oh, I don't think so.
Are you kidding me? I don't have it. Zoe pubic hair. Well, she's had blonde hair, she's had brown hair, and she's had red hair. Do I dare ask what color it is?
Nobody asks that question of a woman. You ask what color is her pubic hair, you get smacked in the face.
Yeah, but she's not
But
around to smack me in the face.
well,
And not only that, she'd probably blow me away.
it's light brown. I can tell you it's light brown, like her actual hair. Yeah. Now
Holy
the red
cow.
hair everybody loves is the brightest auburn is the shade. I know I used to go to the drugstore and pick it up for her, brightest auburn. But there was just light brown under that.
Oh
and
my
under the
goodness.
pants.
Where this conversation is
The
just
secret's out.
gone.
Well, really, on the fifth visit, you're bound to get down to pubic hair and abortions. What
Oh
else?
my goodness, I know we talked about we're going to talk about the abortion. I had no idea we were going to talk about pubic hairs and blondes. Wow. I have to take a moment of silence on that one.
Fix it in post-production, right?
Oh
yes,
no,
right.
I'm not going to edit this. No way. This is probably the funniest interview I've done on Zoe.
You got a good cartoon soundtrack to go behind it, some cartoon music,
Oh. Look, I've always liked Zoe, I feel it's tragic that a woman as talented as she was and as gifted and as she was went the way she did, and I could say
Yeah.
the same thing about John Belushi. He's another one of these tragic figures. He went at 33, Zoe went at 37, like John Belushi. I mean, from Animal House to the Blues Brothers to
Yeah.
the Continental Divide, the guy had some range, and it's like they threw it all away on this bullshit lifestyle that did them
Well,
in.
I mean, in her case, that's a bit more tragic because, I mean, it wasn't the direct result of, I mean, with her, it was simply that the boyfriend didn't, they delivered the message. They tested her blood and they said, whoa, you got a big infection. And that could have been dealt with easily with antibiotics, but she didn't know about it for a week. And then when she
Yeah,
got back, he wouldn't let her go to the hospital. She was sick. He wouldn't let her go in until it was an emergency and it was too late. It had spread. So, I mean, this was pure neglect on some cokehead's part.
that guy needed a punch in the face in the worst manner. That guy should have
when I
been.
got there. Yeah, it's really foul. I mean, it was just so he was screwed up. It was his drugs. He was the one who was coked up and paranoid. And no, if we go to the doctor, they're going to find out who we are, And he wouldn't let her. I mean, she called her mother. I mean, her mother overheard this fight on the phone where she just crying. She wanted to go to the hospital and he wouldn't let her go. So not only he didn't tell her when she was in America that you're sick, you go get, he just didn't convey the message. But so, yeah, it wasn't like, excess. I mean, in general, it was, you know what I mean? It was in a very general way, the drug lifestyle contributed to her death, but it wasn't the result of some drug act or overdose or anything like some of them, they just push it too far. This was just, she didn't get there in time.
Is this idiot still alive?
Yeah, of course. He finally surfaced when Cinémathèque de Paris wanted the footage that Zoe had brought, the footage that was shot by Geraldo Rivera, that we had 19 boxes of film in our house that we saved from his apartment. And she had cut it up into a reel of film and shown it at Cinémathèque de Paris in 97. And he kept all her stuff when she died. So when they asked me, where can we get this film? I gave them his contact info and told them try to get it from him. And I think he made them pay, I don't know if it was 1,500 or 2,000. It was up above 1,000 euros. So they paid him for the film and they got the film from him. So they have Edward's film now. And I paid him 400 euros for the book of dope bags, our album of dope bags that we had saved. He got 400 euros out of me for that.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
yeah, he still has a lot of stuff that he might sell. I mean, he has some Barbara sculpture. So he had taken some of Barbara's sculpture there, and he kept those things. I don't know if he sold them or what.
Yeah, but those aren't his to sell. Those were
Well, you know, he's got them.
what
As
what a
he told me on the phone, well, Belle, she make a big mistake with you for 10 years. Now all her things are mine. That was his final word to me.
you
And then
didn't
when I
go
went in
down, you didn't go,
2009,
you didn't plant your foot up his ass.
no, this was long distance on the phone. And then in 2009, I went to his house and I spoke with his mom. His mom knows all about Zoe. Oh, yeah, ZoeLund.com. And she swore he didn't have anything. No, all her things are gone. He has none of her stuff anymore. But then 5 years later, he suddenly pops up with this stuff, you know, for money.
Yeah, that's a shady character. I mean, yeah,
Yeah,
she was on. She had the lifestyle, but you pretty much say it was his fault.
absolutely, totally. I mean, really, just
What a piece of shit he was.
I mean, they called back. The lab called her cell phone, and I guess he must have listened to the message, but he just didn't. He didn't. So she spent the week in New York, getting sicker all the time. You know, it's just you look back and the things. If this hadn't happened that way, I mean, that was the visit. She was in town, and we always got together when she was in town. And she wanted me to come and meet her at her mother's house. And I was holding my ground. No, I will not return to the scene of the crime. Her mother still had a whole lot of cats. I'd go to her mother's house. The smell of cats would overwhelm me. I'm allergic. And plus, it's right where I found her on the floor with him. I don't want to go to your mother's house. You come out. I'm not feeling well. Yeah, you're never feeling. I got it dismissed. She said she wasn't feeling well. I said, yeah, sure. You know, if I had seen her, I might have seen how sick she was. And I don't know, maybe she could have gotten some help, but she didn't. And then the last day she was here, I really wanted to see you before I left. Why don't you come with the car service? I'll pay the car to the airport, take a ride with me, and you just pay for yourself going home. And I know the story. You're going to make me pay both ways. You're just trying to get my money. You know, fuck you. You know, I didn't want to hear about it. No, you're not gonna wrangle me into taking a ride with you so I can pay you, get yourself to the airport. You know, I was not, things were not good between us at the end, you know? So
It's not your fault though. It's not your
of
fault.
course not.
No.
So yeah, I just missed opportunities, but whatever. Yeah, so yeah, she could still be alive and bugging me. I mean,
I mean, it's like the boy who cried wolf. She cried wolf too many times.
yeah,
You
it was just
you got cleaned up.
finally, after 2 years of getting away from her, I was starting to hold my ground, and I'm not going to be manipulated by you anymore. I mean, she was selling me drugs I didn't need, you know, just
Mm-hmm.
you know, she would carry all these drugs that you can buy over the counter over there, selling me codeine. Oh, the biggest you can get here is 10 milligrams. This is 20 milligrams of codeine, and you sell it over the counter there. Take this. You're going to need this. When you get off the methadone, you're going to need codeine. I'm not sure about that, but all right. So I buy some, and I did one once. I took a 20 milligram. Whoa, and I slept for 15 hours. But I don't want to spend my life like that. When to get out of here, you know, like she's telling me I'm going to want this stuff. You don't know nothing, girl. So yeah, I mean, so yeah, I didn't. And there she went. Zoe X.
Yeah, that's tragic. Yeah. Well, you know what? Here we are 40 years later, still talking about this movie and what a fascinating woman Zoe is. Just be fascinating to I did not know we're going to be talking about pubic hairs in a box, but I'm going to say I'm going to be thinking about that all night. When I go back to work and got one more location I got to clean, but it's like, gee, that was kind of a funny turn in this conversation.
I guess I ought to send you a picture. I haven't never taken a picture of it, but I guess I ought to put a picture of it up. Yeah, put it on the Facebook page. Here's what I came across. Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. Did you ever get that? I might have asked this question before too, because I didn't go back over these, but you said there was like one of those video cameras or something. You said you would have liked to have seen what was on that, whatever it was with I don't know whether this the guy she was staying with would have women over and or whatnot. And,
That. Oh my God. Yeah, I kind of, I ought to contact. It's Eduardo Loro has a
okay.
son named Eddie, and well, Edward died in 94, and the woman he was living with was a pack rat, lived on Prince Street up there on the 5th floor tenement. And I guess she died maybe 10 years ago. She died, and Edward's son went there with some other woman who were distributing her stuff. And he got some things from the apartment. One of the things was Edward's old film camera. And he says there's still film in it. So I thought, oh my God, what would Edward be doing with a film camera with film in it? He wasn't making any other films, but back when he lived with Zoe in the loft, they would sometimes bring women back and shoot them like in The Bad Lieutenant. They'd have a woman on the bed and either Zoe would be acting with her or, yeah, I think Zoe would be acting out with her, and he would film Zoe and these other women doing things on the bed. So the thought that that undeveloped film might be in this camera after 35, 40 years, 40, it'd be 37, it'd be somewhere in the early 80s. She said he would film them doing this. And I know he wasn't making any other films. So if there's film in his film camera, it quite likely might be the remnants of these sessions he would shoot. You know, with a film camera, you shoot some film and then you leave it in there to shoot more later, you know. So, and I haven't followed up with him about that. But that would be something. That would be,
I remember when I first saw Bad Lieutenant, I guess there was 2 different cuts of it. And the first cut I had was different than like there was one cut just shows Harvey Keitel chatting with these 2 prostitutes. And then the other version,
the prostitutes, the ones on the bed, you mean?
Yeah. But then there was another one where I did not need to see a naked Harvey Keitel.
Yeah, right.
I did not need to see that, but
I guess that has the extended jerk-off scene with the girls in the car. I think they cut that too from the home viewing one. But I think they don't actually show her shooting up in one of them, and you actually see her doing herself in other. Yeah, there's a shortened version.
But there was the one where he's completely naked. I did not need to see that. But you had I think there was a blonde and a brunette, and the brunette was in the midst of tying up the blonde. I remember she was, I think she was tying a gag on her mouth or whatever, and I was like, this is a lot different than the other version. The other versions are sitting down talking. I was like,
God,
So I'm sitting here wondering how much of that was inspired by stuff Zoe did.
Well, she was off screen telling him what to do. Yeah, I mean, no.
Yeah, so I get the feeling Zoe was a pretty wild girl. But I won't get you to dispense that. That might be getting a little too personal, but yeah. But I do envy the fact you got the kiss of that woman. I gotta say that. I always thought she was extremely hot. But
some mighty fine lips on her, that's for sure. Yes, right.
Yeah. I gotta ask, what was it like to kiss Zoe?
Oh, please. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's just fine. I mean, I dissolved in a dream. I mean, it was just, yeah, I was already rather taken with her. And I guess that first kiss out in the hallway up in that Midtown hotel. Yeah, I yeah, there's certain moments you can't describe. Just got all woozy and all. It was, yeah.
There are some, especially in Miss 45, there is some gazes she gives that are absolutely sexy. Like I remember, for example, when her boss is um wants her to go to the Halloween party, and he goes, "Would you like to go with me?" And and she just gives that serious look up, and I'm like,
Yeah, of course.
I don't want to know what's behind that, because
She's a picture. You lay your hands on me, and I'll take pleasure in killing you.
But
she
boy,
knew damn well what she already knew what was in store for him.
But boy, was she ever hot with that look she gave. And then there's another one where all the girls are looking across the way there, and you get the couple having sex, and they can see it in the window, and the boss looks up, and this is actually kind of creepy. She's looking at him. She has her arms crossed, and she's looking at him, and very sexy look in her eyes. But at the same token, I wouldn't want to know what's behind it, because what he thinks and what she thinks are two different things. But
when she's kissing those bullets, you got to admit that's the nice scene.
Yeah, but she of course she played a mute in this movie, so she had to act using her body. But I'm going to tell you, there was some flashes, those eyes of hers, that I was like, yeah. But you know what? Very fascinating woman. I'm very happy I've had you on here to do 5 of these. I don't know whether we do it. I bet there's somebody out there. Can you do a 6? Can you do a 6? I'm like, well,
for every one of those, there's someone else saying, "Oh, come on already. We've heard all this." But no, maybe not. Maybe not.
I could have repeated some stuff here. I didn't. I didn't go back and listen to the other 4. I just got so much going on. I know I listened to the first one not too long ago, and
it would be presumptuous of either of us to assume that anyone would notice if we repeated someone. It's not like everyone out there has memorized the first 4, So I think,
why not?
I don't think we have to worry.
Makes me feel important. But that first tribute was my most listened to interview for a long time, and now it's down at number 2. Vincent Castellanos from Anaconda, that movie Anaconda, is now my most listened to, and it's strange because I think I got my biggest audience in, I think it's India, which is causes me to shrug. But a lot of the comments I'm getting on the Vincent Castellanos interview is in a language I don't understand. So I'm like,
Indian.
I have no idea, but that's got the most hits. But all the Zoe tributes are doing extremely well. And my channel's not monetized, but I do this because I enjoy it, and I feel honored that you're willing to come on here and talk to me and disclose about Zoe. And I still have the screenshots of her diary that you sent me, and I haven't put those up either. I know that's personal, but very fascinating. But I got to say too, though, and I've said this before, I really like the fact that you were able to go the path that she unfortunately wasn't able to do, because I know you're close to your family, and I know I've phoned you and talked to you just personally, And I love the fact you have a good relationship, and you had a great relationship with your son, and unlike with Zoe, who you didn't get to make closure with in a positive way, you did get to make wonderful closure with your son,
Yeah,
you know,
sure.
and so, and I know you took a very long drive, and you probably needed to do that, but I gotta say, congratulations that you've uh, you've cleaned up and you've become uh, a more productive person.
Larger than life. Yes.
Yep.
Well, somewhat, but yes, I was more productive before she, I mean, it's not like I just picked up computers. I've been working in this stuff. I had more of a standard career before then. I was known in the video industry because
Mm-hmm.
I was early in the game of computerized video editing. So I got to known in the business because I was the chairman of an SMPTE committee to
Mm-hmm.
standardize the format of edit decision lists that would get exchanged between edit systems. So I was in the, kind of, I mean, I had a job at a firm, and then I made my own company in '82. I didn't want to deal with corporate structure.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I had more of a steady jobs before she came along, and then it was just consulting, and now it's just web design. Yeah, kind of
Here's a
adapting to the
question.
changing.
Here's a question that just come to mind. Maybe you don't know the answer to this, but this is actually kind of funny. Did Zoe ever, outside acting, did she ever have a job?
Um, no, job. No, she. You mean like employed by someone to
Yeah,
pay you for showing up? No, no, there was never a time she was employed. No,
because I know
no,
like you've got
communists
a
don't go for
job
that.
and you do your duties, every day.
Yeah,
I'm just sitting in the
no, I
back of
mean
my
a
head.
job. When she would get a down payment for a screenplay, that's effectively now you've got a job because you've got to turn it in so many months, and so that was like a
Uh-huh.
job, but it's a different kind of individual job, kind of individual task related, when you're writing screenplays. um but a regular employment of there's nobody who ever employed her. No, as far as I know, no. She was with Edward. She was Miss 45. She wasn't doing anything, and
Did,
no, she wrote for the paper. She didn't. No, no, no job that I ever know of. No.
wow. Did she get residuals from Miss 45?
um Not that I know of.
Yeah, I
I
hear
just
about stuff like that a
recently
lot.
got some. What did I get? I just received. Yeah, just today I received this in the mail from the GP Talent Services. I got a check for $56. Yeah, I got a check for $56. It's mostly download to rent, most of it. Yeah, DTR. It was all download to rent, mostly $54 of it. From Pressman for Bad Lieutenant. All right, yeah. So this is just for Bad Lieutenant. I got $59 here. People who've downloaded it and rented it in a foreign market, the government collects from the distributor, and they send it off. So this is like required fees paid by foreigners to rent Bad Lieutenant come to me.
Oh wow.
$56. Hey.
$56. Do you get residuals for Miss 45 or special effects?
I do not believe there's anything there. No, I think she got paid a one-time fee for
Uh,
Miss 45.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah, the
Okay.
rest, I don't think there were any. I don't have the contracts, but I doubt there was any ongoing payments for that.
Well, I am going to tell you this. I interviewed the actor Michael St. Michael's back in, I think it was October, and he was in a movie called The Greasy Strangler. And there's a scene in it where they're in a running through a theater and you see all these movies that are showing on the little plaques that you see at a theater, and one of them was Miss 45.
Really?
Yeah. And I'm like, I'm the one. I'd be the guy to catch that, you know.
This was when? This was a film from back then? I mean,
No, Greasy Strangler. Actually, it was this poster, not
oh,
the.
so it's current. They put it up. I mean, they chose. Oh, that poster. Yeah, right.
No, it was this poster, but it wasn't this one. Yeah,
Oh.
yeah, it was this one. But what I found, because I think that movie came out in 2016, Greasy Strangler.
So they chose to put. I put a Miss 45 poster in there for.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, this has got a nice reversible cover in it too. So it's got the original cover as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I've got that T-shirt in black and white.
I love this. Is one of my favorite movie posters. I love that.
Sure.
You know.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. No, it's. Yeah, I just wish there was a commentary track on it. You know.
Commentary track.
Yeah, that was something I thought that you and I should do some point. Come on here and do a Zoom and watch the movie, but keep the sound down so we can avoid a copyright, but just kind of just talk about it as it plays. And maybe I could ask about some of the locations or some of the stuff that you might have heard of, blah, 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 blah.
No, I don't know anything about Miss 45. No, that was way before my time. I know that when we would approach the nightclubs, you know, in the 80s, you'd go out to the big nightclubs. There was always a big line outside waiting for people, you know, people waiting to get in. The doorman would pick and choose who's cool, who gets in. And we'd approach, as we approached the end of the line, the doorman, oh, hello, Miss 45, come up. They'd call her up, you know, front, and we'd always go in first. So she was known as Miss 45 in the club scene. And yeah, she milked it for all she could. It was great.
This got a nice booklet with it as well. You got that shot of her down by the trash cans.
Oh yeah, the trash can shot.
Yeah.
Abel's POV, right?
Yeah, there's Abel, or Jimmy Lane, as he was called.
Jimmy Lane.
Gee. He was so brief in this film, though. No, there we go. There's a shot of her.
Yeah.
That's where she missed her mark. Could not get the guy that was getting into his apartment.
Right,
That guy was lucky.
Yeah, you didn't know what missed him.
Oh,
what missed him.
One of my favorite scenes. There she is, blasting away the gang. Yep, there she is, right there in the middle. I like that, how she's right there in the middle of that. That is great.
Oh yeah, that's old style. Of course, today the other three would all have guns, and she would, you know, today they would all be armed.
Today they'd have Twitter.
I don't think so. You know, this is really what's happening. They really do have guns these days. We read about it every day. They don't do Twitter. That's. There's
Mr.
That's
Pereira.
college.
Here's Jimmy Lane himself, the driller killer. Oh, there's another shot of her from the where she's being surrounded. Boy, she looks great. Those eyes. And oh, look at that shot.
There he is.
Repulsion. This happened in Repulsion with Catherine Deneuve. But,
right. Oh God.
Abel Ferreira, and she is beautiful in this movie, I gotta say. But yeah, that was a great shot, and oh wow. The whole taxi driver scene. Her on the bed in the nun outfit.
Oh yeah, right.
Oh man. And there's you'll recognize that.
Right, sure.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, I passed that theater out there. That's down on Wilshire Boulevard. down towards Santa Monica. It's actually down Santa Monica way. The theater's
Okay.
still there.
Yeah, and there she is with the other girl.
Yeah.
I would love to locate some of these other, especially
Yeah, I wonder
Darlene's
what they're
student.
up to. Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. I've been trying to locate some of them because I would love to. Is Nicholas St. John, is he still around?
I don't know. Um,
I should see if I can locate some of these people, because I would love to do more stuff from Ms. 45. I know the guy that blew his brains out in the park there. He's still alive. I haven't been able to locate him though, but and there you go. There's another shot. This is so much
Sweet
better a
Avenger.
movie. Yeah, the Sweet Event. She's so much better. This is so much better a movie than Death Wish, I think. But yeah, I really like this movie, and I watch it quite often, and I actually sent away and got this shirt here made. So
That's nice. Yeah, great.
I wear this if you at a lot of the cons. I'll wear that, and yep. Actually, when I was in Toronto this year, I was at a Halloween street party, and I had the Miss 45 T-shirt on. So yeah, I'm very fond of this movie. It's heartbreaking Zoe is gone. I would have. Do you think she would have done the cons?
Well, she did do Chiller Theater in 97.
Did
I mean,
she
was
really?
Chiller Theater Expo in
Yeah.
New Jersey. Yeah, yeah. So that was my friend Sean. He was coming over. Yeah, he had wanted to get her to come over and sign autographs and stuff. To give her a table at there. It's all out of work actors and people like that. So yeah, so that was end of 96. He was coming around and hooking her up with that. And then February 97, she goes out to Paris with Frenchie. And but then she came back in April to do her thing at the Chiller Theater in 97. In April 97, she came back and did that. That was the first time I saw her after she vanished.
I've heard a lot about Chiller, that horror convention.
I did. Yeah, a lot of merch and a lot of actors and people. So she was there, Ms. 45 signing, and Bad Lieutenant, she was signing autographs.
Oh, wow.
And I went out to meet her. I guess we had something to exchange. I don't know. She had been getting money out of me. When she went to Paris, I don't know if you'd get, we're wrapping up here. You don't want another story.
No, share this. Go ahead.
Oh, when she went to Paris with him, she was going over to go to Cinémathèque de Paris and present Edward's film and narrate it. Mm-hmm. And he was going over to see his family, but they went over together. A week after she's gone, and I get out of detox, I went the day after, the day after I found her on the floor with Frenchie, I left because we're living in her mother's house. And now she tells me I'm with him and not with you. So I had no place there. So I left. And I stayed with my sister one night, and then I went to Beth Israel to the hospital, detox. So I get out, and when I came back to work, it happened to be early February. I got my $8,000 bonus for the last year. Nice. I didn't have a bank account. I had it in cash. I cashed the check. I had it in the safe deposit box in the hotel. And well, she calls me from Paris. Oh, terrible thing. They were driving. She was driving the car, and they swerved, and they upended the car. The car rolled, but he broke his arm, and he's all pissed. You know how the French are. She's playing on my prejudice on the French. You know how the French are. He said, no, he doesn't want to talk to me because I heard him. So he's broken up. So we're broken up. And I'm going to come home. I hear this. I go, wait, come home? Honey, you don't have a home. Because she stole her mother's furniture. The day before they left for France, she took her mother's heirloom bedroom set and brought it out to a flea market and got the money to go to Paris.
Oh,
and her mother comes home from Philadelphia and finds her heirloom furniture gone. So her mother was pissed as hell. And I was pissed as hell. And Oh, but I had, oh, and she's very sick. She had to pay her hospital. She had a miscarriage. She's telling me she had a miscarriage. I'm like, miscarriage? That means you've been fucking this guy for months. I mean, it's like, you don't just get a miscarriage overnight. So this has been going on for months. Oh my God. But I send her the money. And she tells me she discovered this new drug over there, Subutex. It's this magical drug. You take it and you don't want heroin anymore, and it doesn't have any side effects. It's not like methadone. You're going to want me to get you some. Send me the money. But I can't believe for 6 weeks, I'm sending her money. Every new tragedy, she managed to come up with plausible to a fool, come up with plausible excuses why she, I lost this and a miscarriage and this. I wound up sending her like over $4,000. And my friends are all telling me, come on, she's sitting there with Frenchie's right next to her laughing. I know she wouldn't go that far. And then, of course, I found out, of course, it was all true. She had just been, so then I met her at Chiller Theater Expo. We exchanged some words. I forgot what we had to exchange. I had to get something from her, or vice versa. And that was that. So yeah, our separation did not start off on a good foot. She kind of used up my bonus there by squeezing money out of me.
Yeah.
I have reason to believe if she was still alive, she'd be on the phone to me every time she needed money, because that's what she did to old friends, But yeah, Chiller Theater, she liked that. She enjoyed doing that. She'd probably be doing those.
Oh, wow. I had no idea she had done one. I've definitely heard of Chiller. What was her line like? Did you see that?
What?
Like fans, did she have a long line?
I did not spend a whole time. I met her at the hotel, but I didn't hang around like watching her. No.
Okay.
I don't know what it was like. Yeah.
Wow.
And the guy, Sean, who hooked her up, he turned out he stayed friends with me.
Mm-hmm.
He told me, I'm sorry, what can I do? I mean, I was coming to see her, and I'd see her lovey-dovey with Frenchie all day, and then you'd come home, and I couldn't stand seeing you being made a fool of, but I couldn't say anything, and blah, blah, blah. I said, don't worry. I didn't expect him to rat her out. But so we stayed friends. I haven't seen him in a few years now, but yes, I've been to a few Chiller Theaters after that.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty wild out there in Parsippany swamps.
I've done 3 horror-ramas in Toronto. I did one Toronto Comic Con, and I just did Frightmare in the Falls just this past October, Yeah. So and I've wore this shirt a lot of them, because I love this film, and it's one of those more rare films, so I don't see a lot of people wearing stuff from it, so I generally wear it. Yeah, so I got a lot of pictures with this shirt on. But no, it's a tragic loss. I wish she was able to turn around, but I'm really glad that you turned around, though. So, you've got a lot to be thankful for, and yep, you've got a lot to be thankful for. Now, if we could just get rid of this darn pandemic, we'd be all set, wouldn't we?
It's a matter of faith. You just have to believe that it's over. It's not listening to them. They want it to continue, They've got billions of dollars more vaccines. They don't know what to do with it. If this stuff is over, they're stuck holding the bag with billions of dollars lost. So there are people who want this to continue. So you'll see.
Well, I'm an essential worker, so
over.
Yeah. Like I've just had enough of it, but yeah. But I've stayed working through it, so I've been lucky there. So,
well, at home, I stay home, so I don't really interact with the public. And down in Texas and Florida, well, it's over. Everybody knows it's over. It's just a different atmosphere. You still see a lot of people walking around with masks, even though they're not required. I think there's a large percentage of people who have trouble letting go of the mask. It gave them some sort of feeling of safety, like this weird thing we don't know about, and here I'm doing something. And so you take their mask away and they feel exposed and they feel like, they're out of control now.
You want me
I
to
think
tell
we're
you
going to,
something? When I'm working at nights alone, I don't wear my mask at all because I'm the only
of
one
course
there.
not.
If I'm in a public place, yeah, I put it on because, well, somebody's going to tell me to if I don't. But
Oh, they
I'll be
do. Yeah.
quite, yeah, but I'll be quite frank with you. It's either here or there for me, I
Well,
mean,
yeah, no, it actually doesn't. It only stops moisture pellets. It'll stop if somebody sneezes or coughs. It'll stop that stuff. But the
mhm.
virus floating through the air goes right through the holes. They say this, they know this. The CDC says this on the website. It's like everybody knows it, but you don't talk about it. And you just don't ask people to act rationally because this is not a rational thing, but it really doesn't do anything. So when you see people walking around outside with it, it's really a shame. It's like really mental illness. It's just because it's like saying it's okay to pee in the pool. I'm wearing a bathing suit. No, it's that stupid. Okay, it's that senseless.
Here's
So
one of my
really, it's
masks.
oh yeah, all right.
The Blues Brothers.
There you go.
I figure if I'm
Oh
gonna wear a mask, I might as well class it up.
yeah, I've got a good HR Giger mask. Oh, I don't have my camera on, but
I got one of the Blues Brothers. I got one of John Carpenter's Halloween. I got one of the Big Lebowski. I got one that looks like a Jason hockey mask.
oh yeah, no. See, I use those stupid light blue free ones, and I would wear the same one for weeks. When we had to wear them, I had the same ragged until it fell apart. I'd wear it, and now I just have one. Recently, my friend recently died, and he left me his HR Giger mask. It's got big teeth on it, like Alien.
Yeah.
So that's a nice one. But I mean, he left me that in the spring, and I haven't worn it since the spring. When was it? Somebody told me to wear a mask recently. Yeah, in the car service place. But yeah, if it's crowded, I'll wear a mask. But pretty much it's over.
But I'll be frank, I actually went online. I was trying to see if there was a Miss 45 one, but I couldn't find one. I would have wore that. Her on my mask would have made my face look great. Oh well.
Yeah,
Well,
just to have a mask with the lips kissing a bullet.
there you go. Well, that's an
masks
idea.
are a thing of the past. That's a bad. It's a thing of the past.
I figure if I'm gonna wear a mask, I'll class it up. So
yeah.
And besides, they're great conversation. That Blues Brothers one, if I'm in a building that's got people will stop and they'll talk about that Blues Brothers mask I have. So plus it gives me a chance to plug my show because I've interviewed 3 of the Blues
All right,
Brothers.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Right.
I've interviewed 3 of the band. Yeah, but Robert, it was wonderful having you come on here. And talk about Zoe
Well,
for a 5th time.
I can't believe the time went by. Hopefully, you'll edit this down. We talked for a long time.
Are you kidding
plenty
me?
Plenty of dead air in here, but okay.
No, we had a moment of silence when the box of pubic hair came up.
Oh, I'll send you a picture. You won't be able to sleep at night. All right. I haven't taken a picture of it. If I find it again, I'll take a photo. I haven't taken a picture of it.
Yeah, send that to me. I would.
But I'll definitely send it to you. Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's 40th anniversary, Miss 45. Love this movie, and I'm gonna say it. Rest in peace, Zoe Tamerlis Lund. But again, I say congratulations to you because, like I said, you've cleaned up, and you're a much better person.
Well,
you
better person than I was.
Yep.
It certainly woke me up. Yeah. I mean, it's not. I wouldn't recommend it, but I also wouldn't eliminate those 10 years from my life. I learned a lot about. You learn a lot when you're that addicted. Yeah,
Well,
you
you
get to
get to
see things
see
from a different light. You just,
you get
you
to see
know,
Brazil and on acid. I mean,
there's that. Well, of course,
and you get
the
to
us, but
you get to
but I'm
kiss
saying,
Zoe.
I mean, I'm thinking more of the years, the sick years, the times sick, laying in the tombs, everybody else cursing you because you stink. I mean, I've seen things that I normally wouldn't sign up for. Let's put it that way.
Yeah,
Um, it's a special kind, a very special experience.
yeah.
Being sick in the tombs, yeah, sign up now. Yeah. So I mean, that's what I think of when I think of heroin. I think of that. I'm not thinking of any dream space or anything. It's like what? Um, yeah, it just never really connected with me.
Well, you know what? We've got 2022 coming up, and I want to wish you a better 2022 than what this year was, because I know this was a hard year for you.
Yeah, yeah.
But I encourage you to keep going, keep doing what you're doing, and I'm glad we've been able to keep in touch. And
Well, sure.
yeah,
And
and
I'll keep you informed of any developments, any news, anything like that. Give me
yeah,
Python,
this
Hyena.
is Python High. These have been fun to do. I'm glad you trust me to talk to me about this. But like I said, we've been talking now. That first interview was in 2015, so
Hmm.
we've been talking to each other for,
Yeah.
well, next year will be
Here we are,
7 years.
6 years. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep. So no, I love talking to you, and like I said, if somebody ever hears these interviews and decides to do a Zoe movie, imagine the content.
Oh, oh, this is potential soundtrack voiceovers, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Imagine this. Imagine the content. Oh. Anyway, Robert, I'm going to close off here because, well, I imagine you probably want to go to Snoreland.
Oh, I've probably got some work ahead of me here. I'm at
Yeah,
my
same
computer, but
here.
just right. Sure.
You're
Yes,
you're
right.
you're you're like me. You're a night owl.
I'm trying to stick on days, but it's only 10:15. And yeah, I have a couple hours to go here.
Yeah, it's only 11:15
When
here.
I go on road trips, I'm always, you got the 11 o'clock checkout time. So I tend to get more on, and I want to drive in the daytime. So I tend to get more. And then when I get home, inevitably I wind up staying up all night and then sleeping all day. And I just I try to resist that, but I can feel it pulling me in that direction. So I try not to be such a night owl, but maybe it's just in my blood. It's the way I work.
Here's a question: could Zoe drive?
Yeah,
Okay, I
not
didn't
usually,
know.
but she did try.
Because
Well,
I
in that
know.
last, and she drove in that big old Russian car in that. Did I send you that clip of how I was conceived? That the thing she was working on in Lithuania?
I don't
I mean,
know. If
maybe
not,
I didn't
send it
send you
to
that.
me.
No, I'll send you. Yeah, this is her and Julius Ziz, who was with Anthology Film Archives in New York. And he wrote the screenplay. They were writing it together, and she was starring in this film of his. And they shot an opening scene, and they were using this to go to a film festival in '98 to get financing for the film. That's the point at which they were when she died. So I got the beginning script, and I got this little thing that they showed at the film fest. And yeah, she's driving this. I remember she told me when she was visiting, she told me she enjoyed this big old Russian sedan she's driving, you can see,
Okay.
and then she's in some weird sex scene with some guy in the big old mansion. Anyway, yeah, I'll send you a link to it.
Yeah, I
Okay.
just know that you've talked about road trips with her, and I never heard about her driving. So, especially with her state, that's why I asked.
Well, I guess it was one of those things where if we were in a car, I drove.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's just the way it worked out. I was the natural driver.
Probably better off.
I
Anyway,
okay.
Robert, I want to wish you a happy 2022, and may it be a better year than what 2021
Thank you
was.
very much.
Yeah. God bless you, and yeah, we'll keep in touch, and
Okay.
yeah. So
All right.
yes, absolutely. So you take care,
Okay.
and we'll be talking again real soon. And I'll
Okay.
send
You
you
take care too.
I'll send you this whenever it's ready.
Oh, great. I look forward to seeing it. Thanks.
Absolutely. Take care.
Okay. Till next time. Bye.
Bye bye.